purpose for coming to the United States?
Business, pleasure,
Well, which one is it?
both.
What are you doing?
Big shot deal? Oh, shit.
Fans of actor Crispen Glover know him best from such roles as The People vs. Larry Flint, the remake of Willard, but in his new film, he plays a hitman with a really bad French accent in Lucky Day. And he joins me right now. Hey, Crispen, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Crispen, I just wanted to let you know right away, I am a super fan of yours, and the last time we spoke was for the Willard junket in Los Angeles at the Chateau Marmont.
Oh, great. That was a while back.
And talk about being a super fan. I still have the CD from 25 years ago that you put out that seemed to have your home phone number on it so fans could interact with you.
Yeah, it was actually a number that advertised my books, that had a recording that kind of let people know how to get hold of the books, but they could also leave a message as to what the theme of the record was. And I did listen to it, and people did figure out what the theme was. But nowadays, of course, that would just be done with an internet website. There was no internet at that time.
Well, in your new film, Lucky Day, you play an assassin, Luke, who's hell-bent on revenge. And the whole internet, everyone's abuzz about the French accent you did. You seem like you had a really good time. Did you take any kind of coaching or dialogue lessons for your French accent?
I did have a great time, but I also did have a coach, dialect coach. I had 7 days from the getting the screenplay to being on set shooting the character, which is a relatively complex character to have a very short preparation time for. But it was a great part. As soon as I read it, I knew I was very happy that this part was coming my way. And I'd worked with Roger previously on Beowulf, which he co-wrote with Neil Gaiman, who I'm working with right now on American Gods, based on Neil Gaiman's beautiful book of the same title, and he's the executive producer for that. But I ended up being in Beowulf, which Robert Zemeckis directed, because Zemeckis had read the screenplay. It was originally supposed to be a screenplay that Roger was going to direct, but Zemeckis bought it from Roger so he could direct it, and said he would cast the people that Roger and Neil had in their mind to play the characters, and I was wanted to be played Grendel by both Neil and Roger. So I'm very grateful to them, because there had been a lawsuit about the sequel to Back to the Future, where the producers took the molds from the original film that were made for my face in order to make, they were originally for the old age makeup, but prosthetics were made to put onto another actor's face in order to fool audiences into believing that I was in the second film, which of course is illegal, and that's never going to happen again, luckily. But it ended up being a very good thing, so that I got to work with Zemeckis again. It did help resolve some concerns and issues, and I had a very good working experience with Zemeckis on Beowulf, and had a good experience working with him on Back to the Future. So I was really happy when this script came my way, and I was going to get to work with Roger as both a writer and a director, and he knows his way around both of those areas.
You play with a lot of great gadgets in the movie and some serious weapons. Did you have any weapons training for the film?
Well, again, I only had 7 days from getting the part to being on set working. I had worked on Charlie's Angels, which had a fair amount of training. I believe on the first film it was 2 months of training, wushu, Chinese choreographers who were just great to work with. I had a really good time working on that film. That was more hand-to-hand combat, but there was some weaponry involved in that. And I'd taken martial arts before that, Taekwondo. So I had some training. This was not, this was just getting on the set and going, essentially. So really all that's in there is just knowledge from previous work. But all except for the dialect, it was a new dialect for me. I had contemplated whether I should do a different foreign dialect that I had more experience with, but it was written in such a way that when I played with other dialects, the dialect that was requested really, it did work with the kind of elegance of the dialogue that Roger had written. So it's the kind of thing you've just got to go and commit, but the character is committed, and I enjoyed playing this international man of mystery, as I like to put it.
You drove so many cool cars in Lucky Day. There was even a scene where you got out of the car and you were stepping on the face of some guy. Was that really you stepping on someone's face?
I think so. I'm forgetting if that was an insert with a stunt. There might have been a stunt foot. I'm forgetting now, but I think it might have been a stunt. You know, you never want to hurt an actor, so everything is done to make sure. And generally, it's better if there's somebody off camera performing a stunt on an actor that could get hurt, like stepping on somebody's head. It's generally best to have a professional that is what they're focused on. I have a feeling there was a stunt person stepping on the head. That's the best way to do it.
And you know, Crispin, I think more people do an impression of George McFly from Back to the Future. It's right behind Doc Brown, but do a lot of people come up and quote that movie in character to you?
No, people are really very polite to me. Generally, when people come up to me, they've seen me in a number of things, and they'll say, "Are you Crispen Glover?" Or they'll say, "Oh, you know," they'll be nice. You know, of course, it would be rude to do what the character does in Back to the Future, because that character is a bully character. So if somebody were to come up and do those things, essentially they'd be being a bully. People know not to do that, so generally. So people are quite polite. I tour around with my shows and films, and I've not been out in Vegas yet. I need to come out there. But people can find out where I am on crispenglover.com as I tour around. Perhaps I'll be in Vegas at some point. I'd like to come out there with my shows and films.
Well, Las Vegas would love to have you, Crispin, and best of luck to you and Lucky Day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, you can catch Lucky Day now in theaters and on demand. And for more reviews and interviews, just surf on over to my website at vegasfilmcritic.com. I'm Jeffrey G. Howard in Las Vegas. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.